Welcome to Oaa Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Taramina.
Welcome to Oaa Now here. I'm Sammy Taramina, blogger of the Dragons Insider, blogger of Inside the OAA, and one of the hosts of Queen Tamina's and Orion Neighborhood Television. I'd like to welcome those hearing us on the local voice on SoundCloud and also those watching us on Orion Neighborhood Television. We do got some things to talk about this week here on the podcast. I know a lot of people been on spring break, but also I've looked at a lot of people's sports writings and thoughts heading in. I've watched a lot of TV during the break, and some really, really interesting things come into mind when I look at things heading into the spring season. We did talk a lot about last week what happened with the coaching situations, of course, in football. Of course, new coach named Avondale, Corey Bell taking over the job there. And of course, boys basketball, Brad Crichton now out at Adams. Got a lot to that was a lot to digest over the past week, and of course, a lot of kids are were on spring break, and now they're all heading back into school. Of course, and of course, some of them are competing in spring sports. When you look at digesting the spring sports atmosphere, when you look at what things have been going on, of course, baseball, a couple teams played during the break. Go more into depth surrounding them. Two teams in particular played in state, Rochester and Rochester Adams. Of course, Rochester Adams picked up a big win over the number one team in the state in class in Division II, which is Birmingham Detroit Country Day. And then Rochester, how they played against Bay City Western. I didn't think they looked really good against them. Losing that one, I believe that score was 8-1. But when you look at baseball, when you look at, of course, when you look at baseball, I mean, as mentioned, I know a lot of people have said, what are my thoughts heading into baseball season? And I didn't really have much of an idea, to be honest with you, heading into the year. I really didn't. But I think looking at it this week, I kind of do have a very good idea how it's going to look in the baseball ranks. When I look at, especially north of M59, I got a really good idea with those teams there. I still don't have much of an idea with teams south of 59 yet, but I'll get there. As mentioned, I read a lot of newspaper articles, I watched a lot of TV surrounding it, and I think when you look at the teams there in baseball, I think that if there's one team I think I could definitely make some noise, Rochester, yeah, they're state ranked, I get that, but if there's one team that I'm watching very carefully, it's Lake Orion. The reason why I say Lake Orion is because they got some players who can play. I mean, not mentioning that Rochester doesn't, Adams doesn't, Stony Creek doesn't. I mean, they got players who can play too. But I think it's a team I'm watching very carefully. And it's because of who they got back. Experience. I know Rochester's got a lot of experience as well. Adams, they do got experience, and of course, especially after picking up a win against Birmingham Detroit Country Day the way they did. So I think that's going to get them off to a strong start early. But as mentioned, this is early. This is really, really early. West Bloomby, the team I'm watching carefully. I think they can do some damage. Grove, same thing. Bloomby Hills, same thing. I think those teams are going to be really, really legit. But when I look at the when you head into playoff time, especially in the month of June, when I bring up the baseball districts, it's really interesting. When I look at the baseball districts surrounding the OA, there is some teams that I think can make some impacts. That could compete with some of these teams. As I look down the list here, I'm thinking that when I look at first district, let's look at District 19.1 at Detroit University Detroit Jesuit. We got Southfield and Oak Park in there. They're with Detroit Renaissance, UD Jesuit, and Redford Thurston. I think it's going to be a tough call for both Southfield and Oak Park, even though I think Southfield's improved. Oak Park's a team that, they don't have much of a baseball presence. A lot of their athletes used to do track and field, but they could be a player. But there's a team I think that has probably the best chance in the OA that could go far in this district. It's Southfield Arts and Tech, but I don't think they're going to be able to knock off a team like Detroit University, Detroit Jesuit. I really don't think they're going to be able to. But I don't think this is as strong of a district as people think it gives them. But I think at the end of the day here, I think Southfield has a chance. They not only have a chance to win their division, but also they have a chance maybe to possibly win their district. Really interesting. Really, really interesting. When I go down the list here, I'm District 25, Birmingham Brother Rice. This is a mostly OA field, with the exception of Birmingham Brother Rice. Of course, we know Birmingham Brother Rice is very good. Groves is going to be there. I expect they will be there. I think they're going to be Brother Rice's top challenger. And we know what type of athletes Brother Rice has had during the season. They're one of the favorites in the Catholic League this year. Groves could be a team worth watching. I think that the Falcons are a team that they have some experience. They have some. They could be a team that could do some significant damage. And I think they will do damage. When I look at Groves, and I think that I think Groves can, and I think they will give Brother Rice problems. I really do think they're going to give Brother Rice big problems, and that's not even a question. When I look at the other teams in that district, I think Berkeley's the middle of the pack team. I really do, and I think Seaholm's the middle of the pack team as well. But as mentioned, I think it's the two top teams there. I think Groves can be a player, and I think Birmingham Brother Rice is definitely the favorite in that one. And they have home field. So that's going to be a tough one there. District 26, it's Troy Athens. Got Avondale, Bloomfield Hills, Troy Athens, and Utica. I still look at this district, and I think it's going to be Bloomfield Hills' district to lose. And I think it is. I really like that makeup of that team. I think they got enough experience to do some damage. When I look at the other teams in there, I think that maybe Troy Athens, they might have a shot. I don't give Utica much of a chance. Avondale, they're a team that could do some damage. But I think when you look at Avondale, I think it's going to be a very tough call for them. And I think that's going to be a team that could be a factor. One thing I forgot to mention on Southfield, they do have a lot of inexperience, but they could be a factor. I think they're going to be a factor. Now, let me get back to a district over at Athens, Troy Athens. When I look at the teams in there, as I mentioned, I still think Bloomfield Hills is the favorite. I still think they are the favorite. But if Troy Athens can win that district, then they also host regionals. That's huge. That's a huge advantage. When you host a district and host a regional, on your home field, that's something that you're gonna have. And I think Athens has that. And right now, when I look at Athens, I think right now, when I look at that district, early on paper, I still think it's Troy Athens. I still think it's Bloomfield Hills. Then it's Troy Athens. So that's where I'm leaning in that district right now. Early on, I still think Bloomfield Hills. Then it's Troy Athens. District 27 one, it's at Rochester. You got three Rochesters: Rochester, Adams, and Stony Creek, and then you have Romeo and Utica Eisenhower. This district here is really interesting because you got Rochester, Adams, and Stony Creek in here. Romeo's a better team. Utica Eisenhower, we don't know much about. Rochester's got a ton of experience. They're state ranked. They're a team that's worth watching. Um, they they did play a really tough match against Bay City Western on their home field. Rochester's field, not a hitter friendly park. It's really more of a pitcher's friendly park. And I think when you look at that district, um, it's it kind of plays to Rochester's strengths, and I think it will play to their strengths with Rochester. And I think at the end of the day, you got to look at who is the teams to beat in there. And I think Rochester has a strong case. I think Adams is a strong case, and I think Stony Creek's got a strong case. Romeo could be an interesting one to keep an eye on. Utica Eisenhower, another one. Those are two others to keep an eye on for sure. So this is a district where I think could be even. I really think that this district, when I look at the teams in here, people gonna say, yeah, Rochester's got an edge because of home field and experience. I get it. But let's not forget, Adams knocked off Detroit Country Day. That says a lot. Stony Creek, they're another team that could be really dangerous. I think that all three teams got a great chance. I think they got a great chance. And people in Macomb County say, well, wait a minute, what about us? What about Romeo? What about Utica Eisenhower? They got chances. I mean, Utica Eisenhower's had a habit of upsetting Rochester in the past. They really have. Let's go to district number 28. That's at Oxford. You got Clarkson, Lake Orion, Oxford, Waterford, Kettering, Waterford, Mott. Now, this district's been really wacky. A lot of upsets have occurred in here. Last year, I think the district was won by Waterford Mott. But when I look at the team talent on paper, neither Waterford team's not great. I'm not really impressed with them. Clarkson, they're going through a coaching transition. I really think Lake Orion's got a great chance here. I really do think that. But then you got to look at Oxford. Oxford's had a great year, athletic-wise. When you look at football, you look at boys basketball, girls basketball. Softball, they're expected to be a dark horse team worth watching. And then could baseball be something in Oxford forte? They have home field. They got home field. I mean, that helps a lot. So when I look at that district, I really think that but I've got to say the favorite right now has to be Lake Orion. It has to be in that district. I mean, it all depends on the draw, all depends on the matchup, but that's who I think right now is the early favorite. It's got to be. It's Lake Orion. District 30, it's at Farmington. You got Farmington, Livonia Stevenson, North Farmington, West Bloomfield. This is an interesting district because Livonia Stevenson's very good. North Farmington's going to be good. West Bloomfield's another one I'm watching very carefully. I think this is a even district. I really do. And I think there could be, and I think whoever wins this district could go far. They could. I mean, we'll see. I really like all four of these teams. I really do. Considering I think that North Farmington and Harrison merged, I believe, their baseball teams. I'm not sure. But Farmington is a team I'm watching carefully. And another one I'm watching is, but the favorite has to be Livonia Stevenson right now. It has to be. It has to be them early. But I think Farmington can compete not only for a division title, maybe this district, along with West Bloomfield. And I think those teams can compete for those titles. I really do. Let's go now from Division 1. Let's see if there's any teams in Division in Division 2. I think Ferndale may be in here. Looking for their district. Let's see here. Yes, right here. You got Ferndale, Hazel Park, Warren Fitzgerald, Warren Lincoln. They're going to be competing at Warren Lincoln this year. I think Ferndale's got a great chance. I think they got a chance to win this one. But you can't also count out Hazel Park either. I mean, I haven't been really impressed with Warren Fitzgerald and Warren Lincoln. I really haven't. But I think it's anybody's ball game. I really do think it's anybody's ball game in that district. And I think when you look at Ferndale, Hazel Park, I know Hazel Park for them it's their final season in the OA. And it's going to be a challenge for them. I mean, in their final year, could they make some noise? Possible. Same thing with Ferndale. Could they make some noise? Could they make some impacts? That's the question. That's a big question I see. But then again, who would ever have thought that the Detroit Tigers right now be sitting 7-3 right now? Who would ever have thought that? Could one of these teams make some noise? It's possible. It's very possible because you got to be playing your best baseball in late May into early June. If you do that, then that's going to be a great omen heading into state playoffs. Now, people were asking me who the favorite is in the state. People are going to say, yeah, Bay City Western is. They got a very good team. Heartland, Heartland's always going to be there. Yeah, they're going to always be there. But the OA's got some teams this year. They got some stellar teams. I mean, could Rochester make a run? Could Adams make a run? Could Stony Creek make a run? Could Lake Erie make a run? Could Oxford make a run? Clarkston, Bloomfield Hills, West Bloomfield, Farmington, North Farmington. It's interesting. It's really, really interesting. Now, I know state champs haven't released their top 10 yet for baseball. I haven't had a lot of time to look at it. Now, I know a sport that I've looked at a lot lately has been softball. Now, softball is where I've been looking at a little carefully. When I look at the top 10 that Lloyd Plant and the crew at State Champs released, and I watched it, and there's some interesting names on there. Just some interesting names. Two girls at Clarkston, Sierra Christian, Hannah Katie. Both of them are Big Ten commits. And then you have Tessa Noose at Lake Orion, who is I think a Binghamton commit. Now, when I look at Katie and Kirsten, Kirsten, of course, also plays volleyball. And, playing for Kelly Penner. And I know softball is their strength sport, both Katie and Kirsten. But when you look at and of course they're both going to Big Ten colleges. Katie, I believe Northwestern, and Kirsten, I think Michigan. So very interesting, very, very interesting. And then you got Tessa Noose on there. When I look at Clarkston, and I've been riding Clarkston high this year. I've got them really high this year. I mean, they're ranked third in the state, and they have every right to be. They've got talent everywhere. They got pitching, they got defense, they got hitting. People ask me, is there a team in the red that could give Clarkson problems? I mean, Lake Orion could. They could. North Farmington could as well. But when I look at the red, I think it's going to be I think it's going to come down to those three teams. Maybe Oxford. I forgot to mention them too. When I look at the state of softball, and I think this is really interesting. You got to look at your favorites. You got to look at your underdogs. And I think when you look at softball, you got to look at, of course, your division. You got to look at the teams you're watching very carefully. But then you also got to watch the teams who are in their district. We'll go more into depth surrounding them right now here. Let's go to district number. I go down the list here. I'm going to go with District 19-1. This got Detroit Renaissance, Oak Park, Redford Thurston, and Southfield Arts and Tech. these two teams, not really much of softball province. Not really much of that. I really think though, if there is a team that could do some damage, um, that could make some noise, it could be Southfield. But like I said, I don't expect much from neither Oak Park or Southfield A&T in this district. I still think the favorite has to be Detroit Renaissance to come out of this one. But it's technically Detroit Renaissance by default in this district early on. But Southfield Oak Park, they're gonna have to really have to improve quick if they're gonna have any chance of making significant impacts. And I think right now, neither team is in that category right now. Neither team. I'd be shocked if they are, but right now, neither team is in that category. Let's go to district number 25. It's at Royal Oak. This district's very interesting. When you look at Bloomfield Hills, Grove, Seaholm, Berkeley, Royal Oak, it's an all OA district. I think this is a really competitive district. If I had to do a favorite right now early, it's Bloomfield Hills because of who they've got. But I've got to watch Seaholm and Groves carefully. I think those are two teams you got to watch carefully. And then you got Berkeley and Royal Oak. Royal Oak, of course, is the host, but I don't know what to expect with them. I really don't know what to expect with them. Same thing with Berkeley. Don't know much to expect with them, but when I look at the favorite, obviously it has to be Bloomfield Hills. And I think the Blackhawks have a great chance to do some damage. But, as mentioned, you got Groves and Seaholm in there that could make some noise as well. So that's going to be very interesting there. Really, really interesting there. I'm curious to see how these teams will pan out in the division, though. District 26, it's Athens. You got Avondale, Troy, Athens, Utica. I still think Troy has to be the favorite because of when you have a coach named Tom Callahan. Anything's possible. Now, Troy Athens has made some strides. Avondale, I'm curious to see how their situation is. Utica, I don't expect much from them. But until proven otherwise, in that district at Athens, I think Troy's the team to beat because they play in a tougher division. Now, both Troy, Athens, I think both of them are red teams. But I think Troy, based on a coaching advantage, I got to give them a advantage there. And I think at the end of the day, I've got to give an edge to the Colts based on experience, returning experience, even over Troy Athens. And that's going to, I know a lot of people at Athens are going to be very upset with me there, but it is what it is. District 27, it's at Rochester. I got Rochester, Adams, Stony Creek, Romeo, Utica, Eisenhower. Macomb County is going to be very good this year. That's not even a question. Got Utica, Eisenhower, and Romeo in there. Both of them are very good teams. I think when you look at Romeo, I think that's a team to watch. And I think they're going to do some damage. I really do think that. When I look at the three Rochesters, probably the team in Rochester that gives me the most confidence is Stony Creek. I think Stony Creek's a little bit more well-rounded than Rochester and Adams. But Adams, of course, well coached into France Wozich. So I think it's going to be a challenge. To say the least. I got to give an edge to, but until proven otherwise in that district, I think that district's all Macomb County. Utica Eisenhower has to be the early favorite. Then it's Romeo, then it's Stony Creek. But it all depends on the draw. Let's go to District 28. That's at Oxford. We got Clarkson, Lake Orion, Oxford, Kettering, Mott. Now, Kettering's got a lot of pitching. They're a good pitching team. But until proven otherwise, and I'm going to say this like I did in volleyball, until proven otherwise, you're going through the OAA. And I think when you look at this district, you have two teams who I think one will be state ranked for sure. The other one could be an honorable mention, and another one could be an honorable mention. Actually, another one maybe could be state ranked. But I know one will be state ranked for sure, one maybe, and the other one for sure be an honorable mention. Clarkston has the talent to get back to East Lansing. They have the talent. That's not even a question. When you look at players like Hannah Katie, Sierra Christian, they got others who could do some damage as well. Lake Orion, of course, with Tessa News, Peyton Shadiah. But they've got some questions. Lake Orion's got some questions. I'm not sure how they match up with Clarkston, to be honest with you. Really am not. Oxford lost a ton a year ago, but they do got a lot back as well. So I expect Oxford to be in there as well. But as I mentioned, this district at Oxford's basically going to be an OA district. I don't think Mott's going to contend this district. Kettering could spoil it for a lot of people. But if you put them against Clarkston, Lake Orion, or Oxford, I don't think they match up really well with all three of those teams. It's like putting them in a. It's like putting them in the. It's like putting Kettering in the woodshed against 3 OA teams. That says a lot. It really does. Let's go to the District 30 at Farmington. You got Farmington, Farmington's Mercy, North Farmington, West Bloomfield. I think that when you look at the matchup there, when I look at it here, I think this district, I'm not sold on Farmington's Mercy. Really am not. But when I look at Mercy, I mean, they're not the same team they used to be. They did not look good against Warren Regina. They really did not. Now, Warren Regina is a very good team. That's not even a question. They're probably one of the favorites in softball this year. When I look at this district, I think it's going to be North Farmington and Farmington Hills Mercy. I think that's the question. And I think that's going to be the challenge. I think when you look at the teams there, Farmington Hills Mercy, you would have to give them a slight favorite, but not real much. So I would have to give the edge to the Marlins, but not by much. I think the Raiders could be a team worth watching because they play in the red. I think they got some experience. When you look at, of course, players like Molly Simpson on that team, I ain't going there with their basketball game at all. I ain't going there. That's for another subject. But I think with Simpson, she's going to be the key for that team this year. I think she's going to be the key for North Farmington this year in softball. I really do. Because if North Farmington struggles out the gate, that could spell trouble. But I think they match up well with Farmington Hills Mercy. Farmington Hills Mercy is not the same team they've been in past years, where they have just dominated and owned teams. They have owned teams, literally. Let's go now to district number. Let's go now to district number. Let's go into Division 2 now. When you look at where Ferndale Hazel Park are at, that would be district number 59 at Warren Lincoln. Ferndale Hazel Park, Warren Lincoln, and Warren Fitzgerald. could this be? There's a lot of hype surrounding Hazel Park softball. There is a lot of hype surrounding this team, and I think this is really interesting because I was reading the article on I was reading an article on Hazel Park softball, and they got a really good chance to repeat this year. They got a really, really good chance. They won a district title last season. This is a good opportunity for them to say they got some damage. They could do some damage. I really like this team. They're young. The only thing that bothers me is their depth. But winning that district title last year says a lot. And it says a lot with what and even though this is their last year in the OAA, could that be something? Could they contend for a blue title? I think that's a question. If Hazel Park can not only contend for a league title, for a district title, why not they compete for a blue title? They could compete for a blue title there. They can also compete maybe for a regional title. It's possible. And I think when you look at Hazel Park, for them, they have got to start reaching higher. I'm going to use the term of Michigan State with them. Reach higher. That's the challenge that Hazel Park has to have this year in softball. If you want to be satisfied winning district titles, fine. But if you want to build your brand, you're going to have to win not only district titles, but league titles and also regional titles. It's possible. You got the team to do it here at Hazel Park. You got that team to do it. I mean, Ferndale is not going to be very good. Warren Lincoln's not going to be very good. Warren Fitzgerald's not going to be very good. So this is a perfect opportunity for you to do some damage. And if you lose in districts, shame on you. That's how I look at with Hazel Park. All right, now let's go from softball. Let's go to track. A lot of people are high on Oak Park, especially on the girls' side. And I think the girls' side could be really, really interesting this year when you look at the regional, how that's gonna be unfolding. Oak Park has to be favored in the gold division. They got to be the favorite, and that's not even a question there. When I look at the regionals, when I look at the regional, where Oak Park is in this year, they're at Farmington. You got Berkeley, Birmingham Brother Rice, Grove, Seaholm, Detroit Renaissance, UD Jesuit, Farmington, Farmington Hills Mercy, Livonia Stevenson, North Farmington, Oak Park, Redford Thurston, Royal Oak, Southfield A&T, and West Bloomfield. This is a good regional. I think this is going to come down to, and yeah, Oak Park's going to be favored in some events. They're going to be favored. But, I think Seaholm's going to score big here in the girls' side. I think Seaholm's going to score big in the distance. I think Royal Oak's going to score big in the distance. And I think if it comes down to you want to go sprints, Edge goes to Oak Park and sprints. They got a very good 200-meter runner. But there's some teams in there. I think Seaholm's going to be Oak Park's biggest challenger. I think with that distance, it's going to be dangerous. I think they're going to be a team to be forced to reckon with. And I think I'm also watching Royal Oaks girls because that's a team I'm also watching because they're going to be there. But when you look at a team that could threaten Oak Park in the girls, it's Birmingham Seaholm. No questions asked. Boys, I think it'll be really interesting because you got Farmington is going to score. Oak Park will definitely score. Southfield's going to score. West Bloomfield's going to score. Could Berkeley be dark horse candidate, it's possible. Maybe Royal Oak as well. I think those are teams I'm watching carefully too. On the boys' side of things in this district. So, but the district at Farmington, the regional at Farmington, I got to give an edge to Oak Park, even though I think Oak Park's got a very good case to win the gold. I think West Bloomfiel's got a good case to win the blue. But it's going to be a loaded regional over there. It's going to be loaded over at Farmington. I really do think that. Let's go to District 10 at Warren Mott. You got Chippewa Valley, Fraser, L'Anse Creuse, Macomb, Dakota, L'Anse Creuse North, New Baltimore, Anchor Bay, Port Huron Northern, Sterling Heights, Stevenson, Troy, Athens, Utica, Eisenhower, Utica Ford, Warren Mott. This will be interesting. I've got to give an edge in distance to Troy. In the girls' side of things, I think Troy last year winning a state title in cross country really says a lot to where this team's at right now. I think Troy will be a factor, even though Macomb, Dakota is going to have a very strong say. I still think when I look at this regional, until proven otherwise, you got to go with the team who won it last year, and that's Troy. In the boys' side of things, I think Macomb, Dakota has to be one of the favorites as well to watch. They're going to do some damage. I think they're a team worth watching for sure. Is Macomb, Dakota in the boys' side. Could Troy threaten? Maybe. I don't see Troy Athens really threatening much in boys or girls this year. In that one. Region 9 at Lake Orion. A lot of OA teams here. You got Avondale, Olympia Hills, Clarkston, Davis, Grand Blanc, Holly, Lake Orion, Lapeer, Oxford, Rochester Adams, Stony Creek, Romeo, Waterford Kettering, Waterford Mott. You know, there are days I miss Ian Locke. Today's one of those days. Because I could go depth and toe with Ian Locke here when it comes to regionals at Lake Orion. On the girls' side especially, I think it's going to come down to Lake Orion, Clarkston. That's not even a question. I think Avondale, Booba Hills, Avondale, Stony Creek might have shots. Waterford Mott maybe might have a shot too, but I think Lake Orion still got more balance. And then when you look at Clarkston, I really think that Clarkston's got the distance crew, but as I mentioned, and I mentioned this for years now, that lack of balance has really hurt Clarkston, and I think it could very well this year. But you never know what Clarkston. I know Coach Kevin Breen very well. He's got to find ways to balance that lineup. If he can balance that lineup, I think Clarkston's got a great chance. But until proven otherwise, Lake Orion's got a great chance. Now, people are going to say, well, why not Grand Blanc girls? I mean, Grand Blanc girls a couple years ago gave Lake Orion all they could handle. But when I look at last year, Lake Orion won the regional pretty convincingly last year. So this is going to be very interesting there on the girls' side of things. On the boys' side of things, until anybody touches Grand Blanc, this regional is basically over. Because nobody's touching Grand Blanc. I'm sorry. Nobody's touching Grand Blanc until proven otherwise. I think there's going to be teams that are going to score, but you never know. So that's my thoughts on that region on the boys' side. Let's go to Division 2. See here where we got District 14 at Dearborn Divine Child. You got Detroit Cornerstone, Dearborn Divine Child, Dearborn Heights Annapolis, Dearborn Henry Ford Academy, Detroit Cesar Chavez Academy, Detroit Cody, Detroit Communication Media Arts, Detroit Douglas, Frederick Douglass, Detroit International Academy, Detroit Mumford, Detroit Old Redford, Detroit University Prep, Detroit West Side Academy, Farmington Hills Harrison, Ferndale, Livonia Clarenceville, Redford Union, River Rouge. This one's interesting. Really is. Because Harrison in their final year got a good chance here. But until proven otherwise, nobody's touching Detroit Mumford. I think Detroit Mumford's going to be a team worth watching. They've been the track power for years there. They've been. Now, Devon Child could threaten. We shall see. We shall see. You got Farmington Hills Harrison. You got Ferndale there. I think Ferndale will score some, but I don't know if they will be able to in the boys' side. But I don't think they're going to be able to score a lot. But there's going to be a lot of speed at Dearborn Devon Child. There's going to be a lot of speed, and there's going to be a ton of speed. District 15-2, Region 15-2. You got Cranbrook, Kingswood, Centerline, Clawson, Detroit Country Day, Detroit Osborne, Harper Woods, Chandler Park Academy, Hazel Park, Macomb Luther North, Madison Heights Lampier, Orchard Lake St. Mary's, Pontiac, Notre Dame Prep, St. Clair Shores, South Lake, Warren Fitzgerald, Warren Lincoln, and Warren Regina. When I look at this regional, no one's touching Orchard Lake St. Mary's in the boys' side of things. Girls' side could be really interesting, but I've got to give a slight edge to Pontiac Notre Dame Preparatory. I think they're going to be. I don't see a lot of OA scoring in that regional. Now we shall see what happens with that. We shall see what happens. These are my early intakes. Not my official projection previews and all that, but these are my early intakes, my early thoughts. Let's go to golf. Let's go to golf. I know a lot of people looking at golf, and the regional be very interesting here. I'm looking at the regional right now. Of course, the this year be hosted. Of course, you have Clarkston, who's hosting the regional at Pine Knob Golf Course. You got Brighton, Canton, Clarkston, Wall Lake Northern, Heartland, Howell, Milford, North Farmington, Northfield, Novi, Detroit, Catholic Central, Plymouth, Salem, Southline, Wall Lake Central, Wall Lake Northern, Waterford, Kettering, Waterford, Mott, West Bloomfield, Lakeland. That's tough. That's tough. Be very interesting to see what happens there. Really interesting to see what happens there. But if I had to pick couple teams worth watching, Canton obviously. Be interesting to see what happens there. Region 4, of course, to be at Twin Lakes Golf Course, to be hosted by the Troy Colts. You got Bloomfield Hills, Chippewa Valley, Anchor Bay, Fraser, Lance Cruise, Lake Orion, Macomb, Dakota, Lance Cruise North, Port Huron, Northern, Rochester, Adams, Stony Creek, Romeo, Utica, Eisenhower, Sterling Heights, Utica Ford, Sterling Heights, Stevenson, Troy, Athens, and Utica. Really interesting. Really, really interesting. I still think you got to get Bloomfield Hills, Lake Orion, and Adams have to be the three favorites in that region. But we'll see what happens. Of course, last year, a lot of controversy surrounding golf scores a year ago. So I'm curious to see how that will work out. Region 5, hosted by Warren D. LaSalle, be at the Orchards Golf Course. You got Berkeley, Grove, Seaholm, Brother Rice, Fortson, Grand Brother Rice, Dearborn Fortson, Detroit Cass Tech, Detroit University, Detroit Jesuit, Detroit Renaissance, Detroit Western International, Grosse Pointe North, Grosse Pointe South, Livonia Church, Livonia Franklin, Livonia Stevenson, Royal Oak, Southfield A&T, St. Clair Shores Lakeshore, St. Clair Shores Lakeview, Warren Mott, Warren Cousino, and, of course, Warren D. LaSalle. So when I look at this one, it's going to be a tough challenge, to say the least. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens there. But we'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. Let's go to Division 2. if there's anybody in the OAA in Division 2 competing. Yes, there is. Region 11, hosted by Kingswood at Fieldstone Golf Course. Got Armada, Avondale Country Day, Cranbrook, Kingswood, Croswell, Lex, East Point, Farmington, Harrison, Ferndale, Emily City, Massachusetts, Lampere, Marysville, North Branch, North Lake St. Mary's, Ortonville, Brandon, Notre Dame Prep, Redford Union, St. Clair, Warren Woods Tower, and Yale. So, interesting how that's going to be set up. I got to give an advantage to Country Day. They're a team. They're got to be the favorite right now. I think right now for sure. So we'll see what happens there on that side of things. We shall see. Let's go to and that is golf right now. That is the early output with golf. Lacrosse early indications. Early indications. Let's go to girls lacrosse here. Early indications. When I look at the regionals, Bloomfield Hills Region 3. You got Seaholm, Bloomfield Hills, Chippewa Valley, Harrison, Grosse Pointe North, Grosse Pointe South, Troy, Athens, Utica, Eisenhower, Utica, Ford, West Bloomfield. This one here could be really interesting. I still got to give an edge to Bloomfield Hills. But yeah, actually, Birmingham United. I think it's going to come down to Bloomfield Hills versus Birmingham United, but Troy Athens are going to be big factors in this regional. Until proven otherwise, I still think it's going to be coming down to the two latter teams between Birmingham United and Bloomfield Hills in this one. Be very interesting to see what happens there in that one. Region 4 at Fenton. You got Clarkson, Fenton, Grand Blanc, Heartland, Holly, Lake Orion, Midland, Oxford, Wall Lake Central, Waterford, Kettering, Lakeland. This one here, until you beat Heartland, no one's going to get by Heartland in this one. Then Heartland's going to be a team worth beating. I mean, Waterford, Kettering, Waterford, Monterey, Waterford United. White Lake, Lakeland, and Milford is Huron Valley. But until proven otherwise, nobody's beating Heartland. Let's go to Region 6 at Farmington. You got Ann Arbor, Gabriel, Richard, Skyline, Birmingham, Marion, Troy Country Day, Dexter, Farmington, Farmington, Mercy, Tecumseh, Tempers, Bedford, Wall Lake Northern, and Wixom, St. Catharines, Siena of Academy. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. I still got to give an edge to Gabriel Richard and Wixom, St. Catharines, Siena Academy. But there could be some team. Farmington's a team worth watching. I think they could very well do some damage. I really do. But until proven otherwise, Gabriel Richard is going to be a team to beat. And also maybe Wixom, St. Catharines. So we'll see what happens there. Region 7.2 at Notre Dame Prep. You got Avondale. You got Bloomfield Hills, Sacred Heart. You got Bloomfield Hills, Cranbrook, Kingswood, Davison, Grosse Pointe University, Liggett, Notre Dame Preparatory, Rochester, Adams, Stony Creek, Royal Oak, and Warren, Regina. So very interesting there. I still gotta give an edge to the favorite has to be Kingswood, Cranbrook Kingswood, but Rochester Adams could have a say in this. I think they will have a say going forward there. And then that is my thoughts on the girls lacrosse side. Boys lacrosse. Let's see here. Boys lacrosse. Then let's go girls soccer. My early input there. My early input heading into the tournament. When I look at girls soccer, you still got your Troy Athens are obviously one of the favorites to win a state title. District 9 at Royal Oak got Berkeley, Roseville, Royal Oak, St. Clair Shores, Lake Shores, St. Clair Shores, Lakeview, Warren, Cousino, Warren, Mott. Until this is not a strong district, but when I look at this district, Royal Oak, it has to be an early favorite. Home court. not necessarily as strong of a district as mentioned. So I got to give an edge to Royal Oak. Berkeley could have a say here, so it'll be very interesting there. District 10 at Troy Athens, you have Fraser, Sterling Heights, Stevenson, Troy Athens, Utica Ford. I got to give an edge to Troy Athens. Actually, Troy. Then Troy Athens. You still got to deal with Utica Ford. It's going to be in here as well. I mean, this is going to be a tough district, to say the least, over there at Troy Athens. Really, really tough there. District 12 at Oxford. You got Lake Orion, Oxford, Rochester, Adams, Stony Creek, Romeo, Utica, Eisenhower. Until you beat the three Rochesters, especially Stony Creek and Adams, I really think that not a lot of these teams have much of a chance in this district besides Stony Creek and Adams. District 13 at North Farmington. You got Grove, Seaholm, Farmington, Farmington, Mercy, Bologna, Stevenson, North Farmington, South at A&T. I still think it's either going to be coming down to Groves or Seaholm that wins this one. Mercy, I'm not really entirely sure of. So that's what I'm looking at it right now. District 15, Adam, Lakeland. You got Boomby Hills, Clarkston, Wall Lake Central, Wall Lake Northern, Waterford Kettering, Waterford Mott, West Bloomfield, and Lakeland. As mentioned, I think Wall Lake Central has to be the favorite, but keep an eye on Bloomfield Hills. I think Bloomfield Hills will do some damage here. I don't know if Clarkson will make an impact, though, in this district. I really don't know. So that's going to be really, those are my early thoughts there. Let's go to District 2. Let's go to District 2. Looks like my phone ran out here on me here. My phone's kind of acting up. I don't know why, but District 2. Let's look at District 2 here. I can get this up here. If I get this up here. District 2 will be very interesting to say the least here. Got District 24 at Hazel Park at Centerline, East Point, Hamtramck, Hazel Park, Madison Heights, Mampier, Warren Fitzgerald, Warren Woods Tower. This district here, I think it's going to be very interesting. I still think Centerline, early favorite there. District 23 at Birmingham, Marion. You got Avondale, Cranbrook, Kingswood, Birmingham, Marion, Detroit Country Day, Detroit Mumford, Detroit Renaissance, Ferndale. Until you beat the defending state champs, Birmingham, Marion, this one's going to be basically really, really tough sell in that one. District number, and then District 30 at Fenton, you got Fenton, Goodrich, Holly, Linden, Brandon, Pontiac, Notre Dame Prep. Brandon has to be the favorite here, but keep an eye on Notre Dame Prep in that one as well. That's my thoughts on girls soccer right now. My early indications. And then the last one before we sign on off is going to be boys lacrosse. When you look at this one here, of course, I'm basing it all based on the regionals and all that fun stuff. So don't feel offended if I offend anybody. Region 4 at Milford. You got Detroit Catholic Central, Bologna Stevenson, North Farmington, Novi, South Lyon, the Walled Lakes, Walled Lake Central, Walled Lake Northern, West Bloomfield, and Lakeland. This one here, I think it's going to be this one here, I got to give an edge to CC. I mean, they're going to be solid. I've got to give an edge to CC here. It's going to be a tough sell, whoever wins that over there. Of course, Lakeland and Milford are both Huron Valley, to make sure everybody knows that. But CC favorite in that one. Region 5 at Clarkson. You got Blueberry Hills, Clarkson, Oxford, Rochester, Adams, Stony Creek, Troy, and Waterford Kettering. Surprised Lake Orion's not in here. But when I look at this one, got to give the edge to Bloomfield Hills here. Troy will have a strong say here. Clarkson will definitely have a strong say as well. So I think this is going to be a really interesting regional. I think there's 3 teams that got a great chance to win that region over at Clarkston. Region 7, Region 6 at Birmingham, Seaholm. You got Brother Rice, Seaholm, Troy Cass Tech, UD Jesuit, Grosse Pointe South, Sterling Heights, Stevenson, Troy, Athens, Utica Ford. In this one here, I got to give an edge to Brother Rice. They've been there, done that, won championships. Going to be tough out. Going to be a very tough challenge for them. Region 7 at Utica Eisenhower, you got Chippewa Valley, Lake Orion, Macomb, Dakota, Macomb, Lascaux North, New Baltimore, Inca Bay, Port Huron, Romeo, Utica Eisenhower. Until anybody can beat the Dragons in this regional, this is going to be the Dragons' region to lose in Region 7. And then let's go to Division 2. At Detroit Country Day, got Ann Arbor, Father Gabriel Richard, Ann Arbor Green Hills, Dearborn Devon Child, Detroit Country Day. Farmington, Royal Oak Shrine, Walled Lake Western. Until anybody can knock out Gabriel Richard, I got to give an edge to them there. Farmington will have a very, very strong say as well. I expect they will as well. Region 15 at Warren Cousino, you got Grosse Pointe North, University Liggett, Harrison Township, Lance Cruz, Bishop Foley, Royal Oak, St. Clair, Warren Cousino, Warren De La Salle. Royal Oak's got a tough chore here. I think Liggett's got to be the obvious favorite right now. De La Salle's going to be another one to watch. In Region 16 over at Notre Dame Prep, we got Avondale, Bay City Central, Bay City Western, Bloomfield, Cranbrook, Kingswood, Powers, Goodrich, Pontiac, Notre Dame Prep, and Shorts Creek. As mentioned, got to give an edge to Cranbrook, Kingswood, Flint, Powers will have a strong say as well. Avondale could be a very tough chore for them going forward in that regional. Apologize for bowling. I apologize for water polo, but we'll see what happens going forward there. Those are my early spring outlooks. Of course, they're not my projections. They're not my I'm looking at based on the district projection, based on their districts, how they're going to match up. It doesn't include the league and all that. So we'll see what happens when everything goes forward. I'm going to sign off here. Everybody, best of luck. Happy return back to school from spring break for a lot of students. I know a lot of students is going like, oh boy. But, it is what it is. So I'm going to sign off here. I'm going to sign off. Take care, everybody. We're keeping an eye on the situations as mentioned in the football and the basketball situations, how they're going to unfold. Keep an eye on my blog at sammysemicolon@blogspot.com for the latest information going on around the OAA. Of course, I'm Sammy Termina here. I'm going to sign off here. Take care, everybody, and see y'all next week. See you later, everybody.